The point is that for some reason many who were proponents of what I consider to be a disastrous decision to go into Iraq haven't really learned the lesson of the last decade. And they keep on just playing the same note over and over again. Why? I don't know. But my job as Commander-in-Chief is to look at what is it that is going to advance. Our security interests over the long term, to keep our military in reserve for where we absolutely need it. There are going to be times where there are disasters and difficulties and challenges all around the world. And not all of those are going to be immediately solvable by us. But we can continue to speak out clearly about what we believe. Where we can make a difference using all the tools we've got in the toolkit, well, we should do so. And if there are occasions where targeted clear actions can be taken that would make a difference, then we should take them. We don't do them because somebody sitting in an office in Washington or New York think it would look strong. That's not how we make foreign policy. And if you look at the results of what we've done over the last 5 years, it is fair to say that our alliances are stronger. Our partnerships are stronger, and in the Asia-Pacific region, just to take one example. We are much better positioned to work with the peoples here on a whole range of issues of mutual interest. And that may not always be sexy. That may not always attract a lot of attention, and it doesn't make for good argument on Sunday morning shows. But it avoids errors. You hit singles, you hit doubles, every once in a while we may be able to hit a home run. but we steadily advance the interests of the American people and our partnership with folks around the world. Question: the Veterans Affairs. President Obama, you got me all worked up on the other one. The moment we heard about the allegations around these 40 individuals who had died in Phoenix. I immediately ordered the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, General Shinseki, to investigate. We also have an IG investigation taking place. And so we take the allegations very seriously. That is consistent with what has been my rock-solid commitment to make sure that our veterans are cared for. I believe that if somebody has served our nation, then they. Have to get the benefits and services that they have earned. And my budgets have consistently reflected that. That's why we've resourced the Veterans Affairs Office more in terms of increases than any other department or agency in my government. That doesn't mean, though, that some folks may still not be getting the help that they need. And we're going to find out if, in fact, that's the case, and I'm interested in working with everybody. Whether it's our outstanding veteran service organizations or Congress. To make sure that there is not a single veteran in the United States who needs help, whether because they're homeless, because they're sick, because they're looking for a job. I want to make sure that they are getting the help that they need. President Aquino, with regards to the killing of journalists. Perhaps we should say from the outset that I don't have the figures right here before me. but we did set up an interagency committee to look on extra-legal killings and forced disappearances. Torture, and other grave violations of right to life, liberty, and security of persons. And in this particular body, there has been, I have the figures for labor-related issues. There were 62 suspected cases of extrajudicial killings referred to it. And of the 62 investigations before this committee, there have been 10 that have been determined. To fulfill the criteria and the definitions of what constitutes an extrajudicial killing. Of the 10 cases that have been determined to be possible EJK cases, only one happened during our watch, the case of Mr. Estrelado. Now, as far as journalists are concerned, perhaps the track record speaks for itself. The Maguindanao massacre involved something like 52 journalists. And there are presently something like over 100 people who have been indicted for this crime and are undergoing trial. That doesn't mean that we have stopped trying to look for others potentially involved in this particular killing. And may we just state for the record that even when it comes to journalists, it is not a policy of the state to silence critics. All you have to do would be to turn on the TV, the radio, or look at any newspaper to find an abundance of criticisms. Now, having said that, investigations have been done. Anybody who has been killed obviously is a victim, and investigations have been ongoing. If at times we do not reveal the discoveries by our intelligence agencies and security services, Perhaps we are very sensitive to personal relationships by the people who are deceased. Who were killed not because of professional activities, but, shall we say, other issues. But having said that, they were killed. That is against the law. And the people will have to be found. Prosecuted and sent to jail. The fourth plank of my promise when I ran for election was judicial reform, and this is still a work in progress. We want to protect all the rights of every individual, but also ensure that the speedy portion of the promise also happens. Unfortunately, speed is not a hallmark of our current judicial system, and there are various steps laws. Amendments, particular laws, even a rethink of the whole process to try and ensure the speedy disposition of justice. Thank you. President Obama, thank you very much, everybody. Barack Obama. Joint press conference with Raúl Castro. Delivered March 21, 2016, Palace of the Revolution, Havana, Cuba. President Raúl Castro, as interpreted. Mr. President Barack Obama, we are pleased to welcome you on this. The first visit of a President of the United States of America to our country in 88 years. We have observed that in the 15 months that have passed since the decision was made to establish our diplomatic relations, we have obtained concrete results. We were able to resume direct postal exchanges, and we signed an agreement to resume commercial flights. We have signed 2 memorandums of understanding on the protection of the environment and maritime areas. And another one to secure the safety of sea navigation. Today, another one will be signed on cooperation of the area of agriculture. At the moment, another set of bilateral instruments are being negotiated to cooperate in such areas as counter-narcotics. The safety of commerce and travelers and health. About this last issue, we have agreed to deepen our cooperation in the prevention and treatment of transmissible diseases. Such as Zika, and non-transmissible chronic diseases, cancer included. This cooperation is beneficial not only for Cuba and the United States, but also for our hemisphere at large. Following the decisions made by President Obama to modify the application of some aspects of the blockade, Cuban enterprises and their American counterparts are working to identify possible commercial, operations that could materialize in the still restrictive framework of existing regulations. The fact is that some have already materialized, especially in the area of telecommunications. An area in which our country already has a program designed on the basis of its priorities and the necessary technological sovereignty. One that can secure the appropriate, views and the service of national interests. Progress has also been made toward the acquisition of medicines. Medical materiel and equipment for power generation and environmental protection, these among others. Much more could be done if the blockade were lifted. We recognize the position of President Obama and his administration against the blockade. and his repeated appeals to Congress to have it removed. The most recent measures adopted by his administration are positive but insufficient. I had the opportunity to discuss with the President other steps that we think could be taken in order to remove restrictions that remain in force, and make a significant contribution to the debunking of the blockade. This is essential, because the blockade remains in force and because it contains discouraging elements and intimidating effects and extraterritorial outreach. I put forward to the President some examples on this. Showing their negative consequences for both Cuba and other countries. The blockade stands as the most important obstacle to our economic development and the well-being of the Cuba people. That's why its removal will be of the essence to normalize bilateral relations. And actually, it will also bring benefits to the Cuban emigrants who wish the best for their families and their country. In order to move forward towards normalization, it will also be necessary to return the territory illegally occupied by Guantanamo Naval Base. Since they stand as the two main obstacles, these issues were again dealt with in the editorial ran on March 9 by the official newspaper of the Communist Party of Cuba. And again, only 4 days ago, in the press conference offered by our Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez. Those pieces extensively reported by the media.